So lesson 3 is about sentence structure, so we'll be learning about 4 types of sentences. A simple sentence is the first type, and it's a sentence with only one independent clause, and it also contains a subject and a verb. So an independent clause is a clause that can stand alone. So an example of a simple sentence would be, I kicked the ball. So I kicked the ball can stand alone, so that would be the independent clause, and the subject is I, and the verb is kicked. Simple sentences are they're the sentences that you're most used to writing. They're easy. The second type is a compound sentence. Compound sentences contain two independent clauses, so two clauses that can stand alone, but they are joined by a coordinating conjunction. Now remember, we just did conjunctions in lesson 2, so a coordinating conjunction joins words, phrases, and clauses together. So an example of a compound sentence would be, I kicked the ball and it hit John. So you have I kicked the ball, which is one independent clause. It hit John, which is the second independent clause, and they're put together by a coordinating conjunction and. So I kicked the ball and it hit John. The next type of sentence is a complex sentence. Now this contains a subordinate clause and an independent clause. So like the others, an independent clause can stand alone. But a subordinate clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb, but does not express a complete thought. So you could confuse it with a sentence because it has a subject and a verb, but it's not. So an example of a subordinate clause would be, because the ball hit him. Ball and him would be the subject, hit would be the verb, but that's not a complete sentence. So when we put a subordinate clause and an independent clause together, we get a complex sentence. So the independent clause would be Tom cried, a subordinate clause would be because the ball hit him, and when you put it together, it would be Tom cried because the ball hit him, to make a complex sentence. And the fourth and final type of sentence is a compound complex sentence. This contains at least two independent clauses, so two clauses that can stand alone, and at least one subordinate clause, which is a clause that isn't a complete thought. So an example would be an independent clause 1 would be Tom cried. Independent clause 2 would be I apologized immediately. And the subordinate clause would be because the ball hit him. So when you put all of that together, you'll get a compound complex sentence that would be Tom cried because the ball hit him and I apologized immediately. Okay, so those are the 4 sentences that we're learning about, and now you can go ahead and continue with the activities listed in bold.